That's gonna leave a mark, Taylor.
That's undisputed because I'm undisputed.
Hello, everybody. You are listening and watching a special edition of the Mixed Tag Show. We're giving you our Extreme Rules result show. Giving you our thoughts.
It says time.
And we were both, the marks here, representing. Shout out to Blue. He gave me this shirt for my birthday because I'm a huge Sasha Banks fan. So thank you, sir.
No problem.
Too bad it's not an updated like blue hair Sasha, but nonetheless.
That's why I picked the purple shirt so it could coordinate with the purple hair. Coordinate.
But currently she has blue
We're
hair.
not talking
So that doesn't. There's no correlation to what I just said right now. So, anywho, I guess we can get into it real quick, just because it wasn't a long pay-per-view.
It wasn't.
Do you want to discuss how, like, what you thought, like your overall thoughts, or after we go through each match?
After we go at each match, we could give our overall synopsis of the night.
Got it. All right, so the first match of the night was the New Day versus Shinsuke Nakamura, aka the Artist.
Yes.
And Cesaro with our new SmackDown Tag Team Champions.
Yes.
Okay, and Cesaro, what did you think? How do you feel?
The match was fire. Like, I enjoyed the match. It's a great start. I feel like whenever you put the New Day to start off, it's a very good start to the pay-per-view. Nakamura and Cesaro know what they're doing in the ring. Them winning the titles, though, it goes back to what we always complain about, single stars coming together and winning the tag team titles out of nowhere. Yep. Cesaro is probably like the best tag team partner in history at this point.
As a singles competitor, yeah.
Like, he's won the tag team title with at least 5 different people.
But when you say out of nowhere, what do you mean? Because technically they've been kind of like on this I get what you're saying, but technically it's not out of nowhere just because they've been on this ride together for a few months.
Right. It's
so
been like
ever since the I guess Cesaro, when the move to Fox and Cesaro, I guess
it was 3 of them before, right?
Huh?
It was 3 of them before. It was Cesaro. Well, it was
Shinsuke, Sammy, and Cesaro. But,
that's what it was. Yeah.
But you remember when they did the draft last year in October, and Sheamus was out because of his injury.
Right.
They put Cesaro onto SmackDown, and that's when that
yeah. But what I mean when I say
happened.
Yeah, but I say like out of nowhere, even though they're in a group together, they tag team here and there. But New Day's been a tag team for like 5 years at this point.
Yeah, they're not. Shinsuke and Cesaro aren't an actual team, so I get you.
Yeah, but I guess like it being a tables match kind of protect the loss for the New Day, because it was like they were pinned. It was just like an action. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
But I guess that's the way. But like again, Cesaro's like the best tag team partner in history, like hands down.
As a singles competitor.
You want to win the tag team titles? Cesaro's your man.
Cesaro is definitely your man. I agree. I thought the match was fire, and I agree with what you said in regards to if New Day starts a pay-per-view, 95% of the time it's going to be fire. They kind of just get things rolling.
Mm-hmm.
I also agree, though, in the sense of Shinsuke and Cesaro, they're not an actual tag team, so it's kind of like, you got WWE's completely gutted the tag team division, and they just have pairings that just doesn't make sense. But needless to say, it's 2 really great wrestlers that have come together, and even the New Day are great wrestlers as well. So it was just a really good match from great competitors. So I was definitely happy with that.
You want to go to the next match?
Yes. What was the next match?
It was Bayley versus Nikki Cross. Yo,
role model.
Low key, I miss crazy Nikki. I don't like this whole dependency that she has a bit and on friendship. Like, I miss Nikki going out there crazy, don't know what you're gonna get. Like, I miss that character. I don't know about you.
Yeah, no, I agree. I feel that, like, I always I always say this on the show, that I always equate NXT as minor leagues and then the main roster as the big leagues, right? Nikki was really good with Sanity, and they remember that match with Asuka.
Last
Was the
Woman
last
Standing.
woman standing match, and it was really, really good. And you just saw that she was on her way to really doing big things. And
Right.
Sanity didn't work out on the main roster, or they didn't attempt to make it work.
For real.
And then, you know, Nikki was kind of left in the win, just whatever. And then eventually, you know, not to go into the history of Nikki Cross, but the point I'm trying to make is I feel that we all know Bayley's a ring general, right? Like, she's a veteran. When people have matches with her, they kind of look to her to, like, lead the way and execute and direct the match. So you're always going to get that out of Bayley. With Nikki, I feel like there's something missing. Like you said, I don't necessarily care for this character in the sense of depending and doubting herself. Even though there's still crazy Nikki, because you've seen, you know, throughout this whole feud with them and Sasha and Bliss, all of them together, she's done, like, really, really crazy things. So I just feel like there's something missing with Nikki. Like, I know it's there because we've seen it in NXT, but they haven't tapped into that potential on the main roster. So with that said, with this match, I thought it was good.
Yeah, it was.
You know, what you could get out of both of them. I mentioned this on Twitter. This was the first time I felt that with the NXT crowd in the audience, I felt that this wasn't necessarily a forced reaction.
Right.
Like, it was forced, but it just seemed authentic too. Like, you for a split second, if you wasn't watching it and you were, let's say, in another room and you hear it, you would think that they were at an actual arena or something. That's how I felt.
Yeah, there was a general reaction to it. Like, they did a very good job with this match, which is very rare with the crowd that they have.
Exactly, and I was like, well, this is, like, I'm into it. Not to say I haven't been into other matches, but I was like, there's something that the vibe and energy was different. So that I appreciate.
I gotta give credit to those 4 women, because they definitely know, them and Asuka, I believe, know how to work with that crowd better than anyone on that roster.
What, like, 4 women?
Those that wrestled, between Nikki Cross, Bayley, Alexa Bliss, Sasha Banks, and I wanted to include Asuka into it. I feel like they do a tremendous job including the crowd into the show. Like, whether they're walking out down to the ramp, whether they're doing commentary, I feel like those 5 women know how to use the crowd more than anybody on the roster.
I mean, and if we did like I don't know, a show where we did, like, for the first half MVPs, I would definitely say maybe not Bliss, and this is not even shading her right now, just because I feel like she hasn't necessarily used the crowd to her favor but, like, Nikki definitely, Asuka for sure, Sasha and Bayley absolutely, and maybe a handful of other people that have really taken this whole COVID thing and Performance Center and just ran with it. So I agree with that. But overall, I enjoyed the match.
Yeah, it was a dope match.
It was expected. We both said that Bayley was going to win by the help of Sasha. And like I said, Bayley's one of your MVPs. I know people say Asuka just because, you know, she really took to the whole no crowd thing.
Right.
But Bayley has, like, taken the baton and ran with it. Because even after she won and, like, Sasha's like, you did it, whatever, and then Bayley was like, I did it. Like, you know, like, just, like, so out of it and, like, completely delusional in what she, you know, her work.
I did it
like, you didn't help me. I did it. Like, it was my talent that won, not because you got rings handed to you. So that was just really good. And then after that, we'll get into. Is there anything else you want to say about that match? Or
no, it was a very great match. Like, I enjoyed it. They gave them time to do what they needed to do, and that's a lot. I'd say during the synopsis, I have an idea of what they did with this pay-per-view, and we'll talk about that. But we can go on to the next match.
The next match was Rey Mysterio versus. Wait, it was supposed to be Apollo versus MVP, but he was somehow, I guess, forfeited, and MVP is now officially the United.
We don't know officially that Like, and that's the thing I
Yeah,
said
well,
on Twitter. I'm like,
it seems like there's a lot of things we don't know is official
right.
yet. But
Like, that's what I said on Twitter. I was like, with this, when they said this whole thing with MVP happened, I'm like, this is why you need an authority figure on screen, so we won't look so confused at what's going on.
Yeah, but
Like,
yeah,
is he the champion or is he not? I mean, he's been walking around the title for like the past 2-3 weeks, and now he just claimed himself to be champion out of forfeit.
right. So I guess we're gonna go with the idea of him being the champion because, like we mentioned, we were texting, and I was like, "Damn, did Apollo potentially test positive for COVID because he hasn't been on Raw for the past couple of weeks and just why like at the pay-per-view he doesn't show up,
Right.
out of nowhere. Although when I was looking at his Instagram, he seemed like
A beat.
like ready for this match. So I don't know if anything has changed or
If anything has changed, it had to be in the past couple of days, because I know personally that he tested a couple of weeks ago negative when everybody else was getting tested. So it had to be, if it's anything like that, God forbid, then it had to be in the past couple of days.
Well, if that's the case, and again, we're not trying to put that out there, so don't say you heard from the Mixed Tag Show that this man tested positive. If that's the case, we wish him a speedy recovery and for future negative results so he can get back to his title because he's the actual champion. Yeah. I think the title looks really good though on MVP. I think the title looks good. Yeah, I think it looks really, really good. Like I know a lot of people.
It looks very diplomatic.
It does, and that's I like it. I actually like it way better than the IC title.
Harlem.
Yeah, real Dipset,
Right, diplomatic. That's why.
Yeah, Dipset. Anyway, so then we'll get into we get into what is it, Seth and
Eye for
Ray.
an eye match.
Yes. What did you think of that? First of all, I was like, I missed it. I missed the beginning. I don't know if it was TV for TV PG, but apparently it's TV 14. I'm like, this is low key TV 14, high key TV 14.
I enjoyed the match a lot. Like without the stipulation, this was a very, very good match from both competitors. Again, the stipulation kind of like it helped the match and then it hurt the match at the same time.
Why did it hurt the match?
Well, because it was like, how do you win? Like I was talking to my wife and I'm like, she's watching it with me and I'm like, yeah, the way to win this match is, to take the person's eye out. She's like, well, how's that gonna happen? Like you got to take it out, like here, it's out. Like how did this actually happen? Yeah. And then when I see how it actually transpired, it was just like, okay.
Yeah.
So
hold on a sec. Sorry, there was something that
came this minute has been upgraded by the host and now includes unlimited minutes. I got that.
Oh. Oh, awesome. Anyway, but yeah, no, and then on our previous episode of the Mixed Tag Show, we were mentioning that they were trying to do something like an effect where the
CGI,
his eye, CGI that his eye. I don't think they achieved that
probably
because
looked.
Probably, and then maybe it might have been too much, but that didn't really do anything for me, but except throwing up, like. Yeah. It was just like, I was like, this is definitely TV 14. And them showing it, like.
It was like a quick little eyeball in his hand. I'm like, what is that? Mr. Potato Head? Like.
Right. So it was just very different. But it was, I was entertained. I wasn't bored. I mean, like you said, like the flow of the pay-per-view I thought was good, has been good up until this point. Yeah.
My wife was like, so they don't respect your intelligence, do they?
I mean, that is essentially being a WWE fan. Like they,
I had no response.
They think a bunch of like, they think just a whole bunch of like 8-year-olds that can't grasp like reality,
right?
Or we forget something happened. When they change something up. So, but that's WWE.
I thought it would have been fine if, like, how Ray got Seth first, and then he had his eye, like he was holding his eye. I thought it would have been a perfect ending if it was like he like Seth sold the eye injury 619 pin. I thought it would have been a great finish, But like to try to do something and show like somebody's eye actually came out, that was like, all right, y'all tried. WWE overdoing it.
Yeah, I mean, I think the whole eye for eye stipulation was retarded anyway, just because again, we know you're not going to actually take this man's eye out and vice versa. But regardless, the match was fine for what it was supposed to be.
Right.
Then we move into right before the actual match. Me going back to what I was saying before, Bayley is chef's kiss because that was mad funny. Her little promo, or whatever, right before Sasha and Asuka's match, and I was like laughing out loud.
Right.
And I find myself numerous of times literally laughing out loud with those two recently. So that was cool. But then we get into the match of the night. Was it the match of the night?
I say it was the match of the night. Usually I let you boast about Banks by yourself, and I just sit back and like,
do you?
It's cool.
Do you? Because you chime in. You chime in.
But
Go
this
ahead.
time, this time I was like, yo, the greatest. Whether you like it or not, and like Rosenberg said during the pre-show, Asuka and Sasha are 1 and 2, interchangeable if you have to. Yes. But it's nowhere past anybody else besides those two. Yes. Like their match was like if it's like 1 and 2, it's like one and then 1 and a quarter because they're like right behind the other one. Like like
it's interchangeable. one might have like I'm gonna be biased and say Sasha's number like. But it's not by much, you know what I mean? What did you think of the match? Definitely, I think it might be one of the matches of the year. I'm not gonna even.
Yeah, no.
I don't care if I sound biased, but
when it comes to those two, they have chemistry. We've seen this last year, and this is why everybody wanted a feud between these two before because when 2018 was it last year or 2018?
2018 after Royal Rumble.
I believe that was like Asuka's first best match when she first got caught up to the roster, if I'm not mistaken. And
that was the first time her and Sasha won the
and the following
and it wasn't even not only it was the first time that they went with each other, that they fought against each other, but it was also they were told that day, like I think a couple of hours before the show, like, listen, y'all gonna fight. Yeah. So they didn't really have time to prepare and learn each other. But that's when you're great and you're passionate about this business, what you do, it's a given, and this match showed that. And
I like the ring psychology of it, where they've been in the same match the past couple of weeks, so they kind of countered each other a lot because they were like, "All right, now you did this last match. Now it's not going down like that. Like, all right, I gotta find another way to get to it then." So it was
the reversals at the end. I was like, I was on. It was like edge of the seat worthy type.
Yeah, stuff. Like I caught myself marking out on the couch. I'm like, all right, now this is great. My wife was just looking at me like, what? I'm like, yeah, this match is on par to be greatest of the year. And then people was talking on Twitter. I'm like, yo, she's the greatest. I'm sorry, bias or not,
And then we're gonna talk about this because it always seems like it's a thing when it comes to Sasha matches about quote unquote there was a botch. It was not a botch. It'd be one thing if when she was, I don't know, I think she was gonna go for Meteor or whatever.
Yeah, she's probably going for Meteor and slipped a little.
And then she slipped, but then I guess her knee. But if you saw the previous, move, her knee was weak already from whatever was done previously. And why would if she that they caught it on the fly,
right?
You know what I mean? Like if that was the case, if it was a botch, which it wasn't. It was clearly because she sold it and then was yelling to the ref, "No, I'm pushing him. I'm fine, ref. This and that and third." And then like I don't know how anyone would think that
because they're quick to judge it and call it a botch. And like the group,
when it comes to her,
yeah. And I said in the group that I was like, on Facebook, I'm like, your favorite botches just as much. Like if it was,
but she doesn't botch like that.
That's what I'm saying.
That's
what I'm saying. That's why I say that. I'm like, your favorite botches just as much as she does. If she does botch, if that was a botch, you guys always talk about botches. It happens. This is not ballet, like they always say. Like things are gonna happen when you fight. It's not perfect. You're gonna slip.
Yeah, and again, but even still, you're right. But even still, it was like there's no way that could have been a botch in the way everything that came afterwards. You get what I'm saying? So I mean, now there was one botch later in the match, but I'm not gonna get into that. But needless to say, that was a fantastic match. What did you think of the ending? I know a lot of people are kind of up in the uproar, pissed that it ended the way it did, and this was the match of, not that this was the match of the year, but it was definitely a worthy candidate for it.
Remember how earlier I said that they need to have an authority figure to figure these things out? Mm-hmm. Never mind about that. We good.
But regardless of the,
we got it. This was a good finish. I enjoyed the finish. It was different. It played to it. It's during COVID. We can't have just random referees run to the ring without being tested. Like Bailey's already tested. Take the shirt. Count to 3. It wasn't no fast count.
Well, I mean, using that mindset, I'm assuming everyone is tested before the show. So if that, and especially if you wrote that finish, then technically another ref could come out. But I agree. I enjoyed the
finish. The reality to it.
And I was talking to one of my followers that I'm cool with, and it was like he was pissed in regards to it because it was such a great match. And I'm like, the reason why I'm not pissed is because we originally, when we did our predictions, we originally had it Sasha wasn't going to win, right? So if I'm not expecting Sasha to win and we're expecting her to lose because of Bailey's going to screw her over, not purposely, but is going to screw her some way, somehow.
Right.
I'm not expecting a clean finish.
Right.
So if you're already expecting that, why would I get mad at a screwy finish like that? We knew a BS or DQ was gonna happen, and they didn't do it like the typical way.
Nah, it's something different.
They had Bailey, and it just goes to the character development. For the past couple of months, Sasha and Bailey have been extremely obnoxious. So if you're that's an obnoxious thing to do. Like, get the
right.
ref's shirt, put it on. Come on, that is hilarious.
At first, I'm thinking she's about to use the shirt to clean his eyes out so he can count to 3.
Right, like
to see it through it. I'm like, oh yeah, I like this idea better. Go ahead, count it.
I like this better.
Count it.
So now I tell you what, I'll be more mad about is that, like, let's say they don't even strip her and they actually she won the title,
right? And
then they have a rematch and she lose. Now I'd be mad about that because now you're playing games with
with fans,
and you already know how we feel about her previous
title reigns. Yeah.
So I said on Twitter, the crew doesn't know if we celebrate, laugh, or cry. So I can't even be hyped right now.
I think they're going to do something where they're going to have them have a rematch on Raw and Sasha's going to win.
We'll see. Because the only way I saw that Sasha would have potentially won is if they decide that they're not going to pull the trigger on Sasha and Bailey at SummerSlam.
And that's the idea. They said Vince did not for the idea yet anyway.
So what do you mean?
Like he wanted to prolong this.
Oh, I thought you said he wasn't for Sasha and Bailey. Yeah, and it's like, how else can you prolong their story? Right. This is the only way you can really prolong their story. By having that just means Sasha now is going to be on Raw for the foreseeable future, and obviously on SmackDown too. But still, I like it. And listen, if I didn't think in a million years we would see fucking Sasha Banks and Bailey as the women's tag team champions and Raw, not in a million years.
2 Beltz Banks.
2 Beltz Banks. We repping. Bailey dough straps. Listen, if you give me this for the rest of the year and leading up to Sasha and Bailey and Sasha winning the title, anything after that, you're not going to hear me complain about anything in regards to this girl's career in WWE. We have, this is redemption. This is it. I'm satisfied. That's it. But yeah, that was a really good match and a really good ending, in my opinion and in your opinion. What was the next match?
I believe the next match was Drew McIntyre versus Dolph Ziggler. That was pretty smart. That was pretty smart of Dolph Ziggler with that whole stipulation. What you think?
I missed the stipulation. I tuned out because I was just like
on Twitter.
Oh, it was chairs?
No. Extreme Rules only for Dolph Ziggler.
Oh, the man still lost.
Right.
You can't.
They was like, if count out win, change his titles. Like it was mad stipulations to favor Dolph. And when he did that, I was like, yeah, you're not winning, buddy. Like,
yeah. I mean, you know, I think we all
situations.
knew that this was never gonna happen. In regards to this man Dolph winning. It was okay match. It was cool for what it was, though.
It was. I know it was.
Yeah.
It was the dope match. The
Yeah.
Nick Kip to the Claymore. The Dolph Ziggler using the rock bottom on Drew after this past week's comments. Like it just it just all played
It's
into
good storytelling. Yeah, it was a cool match for what it was worth. And at the end of the day, with Dolph, like he's a wrestler that just has a really crazy career in the sense of has all the talent in the world in regards to wrestling ability, promo abilities, but WWE has never really
they don't see the money with him
behind him. Yeah,
I mean, they tried a couple of times, and he had like
a couple of times, and he had
injuries.
Delivered.
He had
injuries, but a couple of times he's delivered. But
they feel like, remember we heard the story that Vince sees him as injury prone.
I don't know.
That's the holdup.
I don't know, but I think the result of this match was pretty predictable, just because Dolph wasn't winning.
Yeah,
Dolph wasn't winning anybody's WWE championship. So it's funny that we're talking about Drew right now, because they have like on the network right now is Chronicle. But after that was the last match was the swamp match, no?
Yeah, it was the swamp match. It was interesting.
It was interesting.
Like having Braun face himself, and the whole Alexa Bliss thing was kind of weird, and I don't know. Like, I
think it was supposed to be a weird match. It wasn't. It just seems like with these cinematic Bray matches, it doesn't make sense, right? So it's just that's kind of what it was, and we knew this was leading up to SummerSlam. The Fiend versus Braun, and ultimately the Fiend is probably going to win.
For a while now, he can't be back until like end of August or some shit. Like, this is you drowned with you got drowned. Like, you can't just be popping back up on Friday.
That's not going to happen. He might show up in maybe in a couple of weeks or so, but the trilogy is the Fiend versus Braun. So
right.
I don't even know if anybody won or not.
Yeah,
it's kind of like Bray, the Funhouse match with Cena at Mania. It's like, so, but again, it's a trilogy match, right? Braun won against Bray, and then this one is kind of like up in the air in limbo,
won.
Or maybe not. Maybe the trilogy match at SummerSlam is the rubber match. Yeah. So, what happened to Jeff Hardy and Sheamus?
I didn't even remember that. That's an interesting take. Like, they stopped promoting it. They just stopped promoting it altogether. Yeah.
They
didn't,
because it wasn't.
Like, it wasn't even on the cards for, like, when I looked up the cards earlier to post up the polls on the Mixed Tag Show on Instagram and Twitter. Like, that didn't even come up on nobody's cards list this past couple of days. So I don't know if they just nixed it or what.
But then it would lead you to believe, because what was my theory previously, that Sheamus was all of a second at SmackDown. Then the past couple of weeks, everything was done at home.
Right.
Maybe when they tested him, he still wasn't cleared, and so they nixed the match.
Right. That could be a possibility.
Because it just seems what the scenario is. But besides that was the Extreme Rules horror show. What did you think of it?
First of all, it was very interesting to have a horrors pay-per-view in the middle of July, during the heat wave. Yeah, they had a better chance of calling the pay-per-view heat wave. But didn't they have one? Oh, the heat. Brings me to my point. So this style of pay-per-view, it reminds me of NXT pay-per-view in a way. It was short. It was a
shorter card.
Gave you most of the titles.
Short and sweet.
Yeah, it gave you most of the titles. Short, keep it moving. Like, it was no matches outside of the Seth and Ray that didn't have a title in it. When you think about it,
it's short and sweet.
I don't mind this.
I would love moving forward. You telling me a pay-per-view starts at 7 and ends at 9:30? Say less. You know?
Exactly. Like, I would take this anytime. Maybe 1 or 2 filler matches if it's like continuing a storyline, maybe. But main titles, keep it moving. I like it.
Yeah, and then on top of that, like obviously maybe for the big pay-per-views like SummerSlam, WrestleMania, you're probably gonna fill it with a little bit more cards. But every pay-per-view doesn't have to have filler matches, like legit filler matches. I don't mind different feuds being into, like if it's an actual feud, but if random filler matches, they don't need to be
like the
in that
versus Big Show. They did the right thing by putting it on Raw.
right.
It did not
Exactly.
it did not need to be on Extreme Rules tonight.
Exactly. But overall, it was a great show, a great pay-per-view.
I enjoyed it.
And
Especially
I'm not, and it feels like the Attitude Era where like something happened this day and now I gotta tune in because we literally gotta tune in tomorrow and see what happened.
With the MVP title, with Sasha Banks, is Braun alive?
Well, then we would tune in on Friday, but yeah.
So
like,
this week in general, like Ray, like they said, Ray went to the hospital, and So
it was legit something like, well, let's tune in tomorrow and for the rest of the week. So I think they achieved it and they did a good job. So
we need to update. Did somebody get Seth Rollins a ginger ale or
something? Cranberry juice, some Pepto-Bismol. I don't know, something. But with that said, that is our show. Thank you for listening to our special edition of the Mixed Tag Show.
Definitely.
Extreme Rules Horror Show Result Show. That's a long title, but
it was short and sweet, just like the pay-per-view.
Boom. All right, but you can catch us on Twitter and Instagram at the Mixed Tag Show or at
our personal at Blue Magic Grind, spelled how it sounds.
Or at Miss Jenna Baby, BAYBEE.
All right, see you guys next time. And we'll look out for our special edition episodes.